Welcome back to the special edition of Hannity. I said a bad word just before we came back in. I'll tell you my mood for this. It looks like the Democrats have some regrets about the way that they ran the 2024 campaign, and maybe, of course, the last 50 years. Former President Barack Obama is now openly calling on Democrats to talk to people with whom they disagree. Woo. Suddenly, he's interested in building coalitions that are open, now get this, to, quote, not only the woke, but also the waking, as though that's a confession, that it's not just people who are always going to disagree. It's people that have to come along anyway, no matter what. But even Obama is a bit further along in the grieving process than vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. He still can't believe that he and Harris lost. Apparently, he thought that the campaign's positive message would be enough to get by on. Yeah, that's, by the way, that is an element of groupthink, when you just simply can't see the reality outside of your own bounds. Now, here with reaction, our Project 21 chairman, Horace Cooper, and Texas Congressman Ronnie Jackson. Horace, let me start with you. It is, I was swearing a little bit before we came back on the air, as I was thinking about, Barack Obama had so much potential, did invigorate so many Americans. The symbolism of his presidency as the first black president was vitally important. But there now seems to be, like, the spell is broken, that this guy becoming president, part and parcel of all the problems we've had, dividing people, maligning them, relying on their, clinging to their guns and religion, the smug superiority. And now people are hearing him saying things like, we've got to have a pluralism and build coalitions. Horace, wouldn't you say that the situation we're in now is a direct result of what Barack Obama laid out when he was president and even before?
Look, Dr. Seuss has a book just for the former president. It's Marvin K. Mooney, Please Go Now. His leadership was wasted. The opportunity to demonstrate, not just to Americans as we talk neighbor to neighbor about what's possible in America, but the world what's possible in America. Instead, he divided us. Instead, he misruled us. Instead, he lied to us. The Associated Press called it the lie of the year. If you like your plan, you can keep it.
Oh, yeah.
If you like your doctor, you can keep it. Again, he's the first president in 100 years when running for re-election who got fewer votes than he did the first time. He was already on his way out, and after 2012, every time he has shown up, he hasn't helped anybody.
Yeah, that is a great point. Representative Jackson, he could not drag Hillary across the finish line, even as the incumbent president. Clearly, he couldn't drag Kamala Harris across. He can't be like Ellen DeGeneres and just leave the country because, the money is here, right? His fame is here. And Donald Trump, when we think about what's possible for all Americans, especially those who are disenfranchised, people of color, legal immigrants, people who are still struggling, Trump and his team has shown just the passion you need for regular Americans in order to make things work.
Well, Tammy, that's why President Trump won. He won because he brought all these people together. He regained everyone and made us all come together as Americans again. You're right. This started back in the very beginning of the Obama administration. It just progressively got worse, and it's on steroids during the Biden administration. But, now he wants us to all come together and just kumbaya and get along. And
Sure.
He's worried that, that we're going to weaponize the government against our political enemies and use the power of the state and all the stuff that they've actually been doing for the last 4 years. For God's sake, they tried everything they could to tear down President Trump and anybody that even remotely thought he had a good idea. And, President Obama started this, but during the 8 years of the Obama administration, don't forget, I was in the White House. I was watching it every single day. And every single day, it was identity politics. He didn't do anything that didn't revolve
That's
around
right.
identity politics. Black versus white, straight versus gay, rich versus poor, man versus woman. They fragmented this country. They made everybody in this country feel like they were a persecuted minority and that everybody else was out to get them. And that's what led to the overwhelming defeat that they just witnessed.
You know, this is what, Horace, this is what is so great about America, and has always been great, is that Americans, there's this revolutionary spirit in our DNA that we like the underdog, right? We're romantics. And so, you know, we want things to be really good, but my goodness, if you keep punching us in the face, we're going to say, stop it, and we're going to have the courage to say, you know, you're fired. We don't want you. And it seems like we're there. I mean, who knew that it would be an older, white, bad dancer who would bring all Americans together? I mean, and we love him for it. But isn't this what we want? Is really this power of everyone coming together? That it's not some naive fantasy. It is the heart of what makes America great always.
Well, first, let me say, don't be hating on the Trump dance.
I'm not.
It's
I love
actually
the Trump
pretty
dance.
easy for everybody to be able to do.
I love it.
But
I love
seriously, in your introduction, you pointed out how Barack Obama has let America down because he attacked what it means to be American.
Right.
One of the biggest complaints that I have about him as president is that he had an opportunity to say to every person, whether you were in rural parts of the country, whether you were in the inner city, black, white, or brown, he had the ability to say to them, look at me, look at what's possible.
Right.
In America, if you apply yourself, you can achieve. He did not say that.
That's right.
Instead, he said, oh, they're holding you back. They're never going to give you a chance. That's why I wrote my book. That's why I wrote my book predicting that black Americans were not going to stay on the Democrat progressive plantation.
Bravo.
And guess what? This election came, and they didn't.
They didn't. Gentlemen, this is a great time in history, even as we dance our ways through it. Thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. A great 4 years. They're going to be rough, but it's going to be a great 4 years coming up. Thank you, Congressman Horace. Thank you.